Welcome to an exploration of story thinking, a revolutionary approach to professional creativity. I'm your host, and today we're diving into how narrative cognition is transforming how professionals solve problems, innovate, and adapt in complex environments. In the next 5 minutes, you'll discover why storytelling isn't just for entertainment. It's a powerful cognitive tool backed by cutting-edge research. Story thinking is the brain's natural ability to process information through narratives, connecting causes to effects, imagining what-if scenarios, and projecting future possibilities. Unlike traditional logical thinking, which deals with static facts and categories, story thinking is dynamic and action-oriented. When a healthcare executive imagines how a new technology might transform patient care, or when an educator envisions alternative teaching approaches, they're engaging in story thinking, crafting causal chains that lead from present challenges to future solutions. Why is story thinking so effective? First, it's fundamentally natural. Our brains evolved to process information through stories long before formal logic existed. Ancient cave paintings weren't spreadsheets or bullet points. They were narratives that helped our ancestors survive by anticipating what might happen next. Second, it's extraordinarily useful in professional contexts. When facing complex, ambiguous challenges, like market disruption or technological change, logical analysis often falls short because the variables are too numerous and the future too uncertain. Story thinking thrives in this uncertainty by exploring multiple causal pathways. Third, it's powerful because it engages our full cognitive capacity. Research from Professor Angus Fletcher shows that narrative thinking activates neural networks associated with empathy, foresight, and creative synthesis. Exactly the capabilities professionals need to innovate and adapt. When professionals shift from asking what is to what might happen if, they unlock entirely new solution spaces. The research on narrative cognition is experiencing a renaissance. Traditional creativity approaches focused on divergent thinking, generating many ideas from a single prompt. But as Fletcher demonstrated in his 2022 paper, A New Method for Training Creativity, this approach often produces ideas that lack actionable depth. The emerging literature positions story thinking as a more effective alternative. Fletcher's landmark book, Story Thinking: The New Science of Narrative Intelligence, 2023, provides compelling neuroscientific evidence for narrative cognition's effectiveness. Meanwhile, Professor David Boy's extensive work on organizational storytelling shows how narrative approaches transform collective problem-solving and adaptation. Perhaps most compelling are the empirical results. Professionals trained in narrative techniques demonstrate significantly higher innovation rates, strategic foresight, and adaptability compared to those using traditional brainstorming approaches. The evidence is clear. Story thinking isn't just theoretically sound, it delivers measurable professional outcomes. Two pioneers stand at the forefront of this field. Angus Fletcher, Professor of Story Science at Project Narrative at Ohio State University, approaches story thinking through cognitive neuroscience and literary theory. His research illuminates how individual narrative techniques, like world building and perspective shifting, enhance creativity and resilience. Fletcher's work with the US Army has demonstrated how narrative training improves strategic thinking and adaptability in high-stakes environments. David Boy, Professor Emeritus at New Mexico State University, examines storytelling through an organizational lens. His concepts of conversational story inquiry and restorying focus on how groups co-create narratives to navigate change and uncertainty. Boy's quantum storytelling framework helps professionals maintain multiple possible interpretations simultaneously, enhancing adaptability in rapidly changing contexts. Together, these scholars offer complementary approaches, Fletcher focusing on individual cognitive techniques, Boy on collaborative and organizational processes, creating a comprehensive framework for professional story thinking. For faculty and learning professionals, implementing story thinking doesn't require a complete curriculum overhaul. Start by transforming case studies into narrative challenges where learners must employ world building to explore alternative solutions. Incorporate perspective-shifting exercises where professionals must solve problems from multiple stakeholders' viewpoints. Develop plot-twisting scenarios that force adaptation to unexpected changes. Assessment can also incorporate narrative elements. Rather than evaluating static knowledge, assess how professionals navigate dynamic scenarios that evolve in response to their decisions. This approach not only develops story thinking skills, but also more accurately reflects real-world professional challenges. Let's explore two powerful techniques in greater depth. Perspective shifting goes beyond simple empathy to fully inhabit another's cognitive framework. Fletcher's research with military strategists showed that officers trained in perspective shifting develop superior plans by accurately anticipating how others would respond to their actions. This technique helps professionals break free from their own mental models and discover solutions invisible from their original viewpoint. Plot twisting deliberately introduces unexpected changes, forcing professionals to reconsider assumptions and develop contingency plans. Evidence from Fletcher's laboratory experiments shows this technique significantly improves resilience, the ability to recover from setbacks and generate alternative approaches when initial plans fail. In today's volatile professional environments, this adaptability is invaluable. Boy's contributions emphasize the social dimensions of story thinking. Conversational story, inquiry creates spaces where professionals collectively construct narratives through dialogue. Unlike traditional meetings focused on information exchange, these sessions generate emerging stories that reveal new possibilities and shared understanding. Restorying, revisiting, and reframing existing narratives is particularly powerful for organizational change. When professionals re-examine the stories they tell about their work, customers, or challenges, they often discover that these narratives contain hidden assumptions limiting their creativity. By rewriting these stories, they unlock new approaches and possibilities previously invisible to them. Story thinking represents not just a technique, but a fundamental shift in how we approach professional creativity and problem solving. By embracing narrative cognition through Fletcher's individual techniques and Bodge's collaborative approaches, professionals can develop the creativity, foresight, and adaptability essential for today's complex challenges. The most innovative organizations aren't just changing their strategies, they're changing the stories they tell about what's possible. What new story will you create? I'm your host signing off until our next chapter.